The daughter raised her hand and added details about the incident to the vice principal. In light of the recent incident involving my daughter, I have provided her with guidance on self-protection. The adult dragon with red hair is very angry about this. He accuses our actions and insults us. I couldn't bear to see his insults anymore, and went up to stop him. At the suggestion of the Silver Dragon Queen, the vice principal prevented him from continuing to cause trouble, and presented the results of the handling to the children. After Vice Principal Wilson finished recounting the details of the fight, Noah suggested to him that she needed to provide additional information. Noticing Noah's gesture of raising her hand, Vice Principal Wilson turned to look at her and said, "Noah, do you have anything to add?" Noah crossed her hands and placed them on her chest, with a displeased expression on her face. She turned around and looked at Lars standing beside her, revealing some details of the incident that had not been mentioned. Firstly, when in the canteen, he deliberately provoked me. Overturning the plate was just an accident. Secondly, in the backyard of the dormitory, they rushed over and scared me. I accidentally broke his arm in self-defense. Lar became nervous when he saw Noah's unhappy expression. He looked at her with a frightened expression, his body trembling slightly, and slowly took a step back. "Right, Lar?" Noah's face was expressionless, her brow furrowed slightly. She looked at him with serious eyes, as if confirming to him whether what she said was true or not. She still feels angry about his provocation towards her yesterday. Due to the terrifying aura emanating from Noah, Lar was so scared by her that she almost cried. He immediately hid behind his father again. He tightly held onto his father's hem, revealing only half of his body, and answered Noah's words hesitantly. That's right." Lars' father turned around and looked at his son with a puzzled expression. He doesn't know why his son is so afraid of a girl. He asked his son in confusion, "Why are you so afraid of her?" After listening to Noah's additional details about the matter, Leon, standing behind her, raised one hand and held his chin, thinking for a while. Then, he looked at Noah and expressed his thoughts. "Noah, I think you did something wrong." Noah seemed to notice that Leon's words had a tone of accusation towards her. She lifted her head, lowered her eyebrows, and gently clenched her hands into small fists. She looked at him with a slightly nervous mood, prepared in advance to accept Leon's preaching. However, contrary to her expectations, Leon did not criticize her approach to self-defense, as she had imagined he would. He lowered his head, bent down, patted his knee, and then proposed a method to deal with similar incidents to Noah. "If you encounter this kind of thing again, you should kick his knee first, okay?" Noah was stunned for a moment. She looked at Leon's knee, and was somewhat puzzled by his suggestion. Why kick the knee? Leon straightened his body, crossed his hands in front of his chest, and looked ahead with a very confident expression. On the battlefield, if the Crimson Flame Dragon's knee is injured, they are easily attacked. A blazing flame seemed to emerge from behind him, as if igniting his passion for battle with the dragon. Noah nodded and understood what Leon meant. Then, she took out a notebook and a pen, listening to Leon's explanation while jotting down the method. "Okay, I'll pay attention next time." If something similar happens again in the future, she might really be able to use this method. After watching Leon teach Noah self-defense knowledge, Lars' father couldn't bear it anymore. He believed that Leon intentionally taught her daughter knowledge that was not good, and also intentionally guided her to bully his son. He was very angry and pointed at Leon, saying loudly to Vice Principal Wilson, "Principal, did you hear that? This guy actually taught his daughter to bully my child in public." Leon had a smile on his face, a calm expression, and paid no attention to Lars' father's words. However, this next statement from Lars' father made them feel uneasy. For a student with violent tendencies like her, an apology is no longer sufficient to resolve the issue. She should be directly expelled from school. Upon hearing him clamoring for the vice principal to expel Noah, Leon opened his eyes in surprise. Roswitha and Noah also began to feel nervous. They all looked in the direction of Lars' father. Seeing Lars' father trying to make a scene, Vice Principal Wilson, who was standing nearby, raised his hand to stop him. "Lars' dad, please calm down. Whether or not to expel Noah will be decided by St. Hiss Academy." Moreover, many students have reported that Lar often bullies some viviparous dragons. The students in the canteen last night also proved that Lar deliberately provoked Noah first. Vice Principal Wilson also added some of Lar's usual actions regarding his behavior in this incident, and also stated that this is not the first time he has bullied a dragon younger than him. As the vice principal spoke, Lar lowered his head nervously and looked aside. He also seems to know that his approach is wrong. Lar's father still felt angry. He does not accept the vice principal's explanation. His son was bullied by the dragon, but he was also accused by others of provoking others first. He widened his eyes and angrily said to the vice principal, "Principal, do you mean their daughter beat up my son, and the academy not only did not punish her, but also accused my son of deliberately provoking her?" Leon can't stand Lar's father throwing tantrums here. He walked forward, looked into Lar's father's eyes, and loudly rebuked him. "Don't you feel ashamed? How old is your son? He was beaten up by my 1-year and 2-month-old daughter. What are you shouting about?" Upon hearing that Leon's daughter was much younger than his son, Lar's father was slightly surprised. However, he still hadn't restrained himself, and continued to argue loudly to Leon. "Never mind how old my son is, the point is." They all looked at each other with angry eyes, as if sparks were about to ignite between them. At this moment, Lar whispered his age. I am 7 years and 11 months old." Leon and Lar's father looked at him together and fell silent for a moment. Lar noticed that the adults were watching him and was a little scared. He timidly took a step back. The air suddenly quieted down for a few seconds. After learning about Lar's age, Leon couldn't help but laugh. To prevent laughing too loudly, he covered his mouth with his hand. He looked at Lar's father with mocking eyes and said, "If I encounter such a shameful thing, I will definitely dig 3,000 feet deep and bury myself, letting this matter rot in my stomach forever." Lar's father became even more angry when he saw Leon's smug expression. He was so angry that he couldn't think of anything to refute Leon at once. Since he had nothing to say to Leon's daughter, he had to shift the focus of his insults from Noah to their entire family. He said with an angry expression and gritted his teeth. A coward who dare not even show the tail. What right do you have to say about my son? He rudely pointed with his hand at Roswitha and Noah standing not far away. I think your whole family is lowly. Roswitha and Noah furrowed their brows slightly, looking at Lars' father with displeased expressions. They all noticed his rude behavior, but couldn't say anything for a moment. At this moment, Leon reached out and tightly grasped the finger that Lars' father pointed at them. Then, Leon forcefully twisted his fingers in the opposite direction. Leon couldn't tolerate his rude behavior and inexplicable insults towards his family. He said to Lars' father with a slightly angry tone, "You pointed at me and cursed. I endured it. But how dare you point and curse at my wife and daughter?" Lars' father's fingers were held so tightly in Leon's grip that he couldn't break free for a moment. He closed his eyes tightly in pain and raised his head, screaming loudly, "Ah!" Seeing Leon take the initiative to stop Lars' father for them, Roswitha felt some relief. She quietly smiled and silently evaluated his behavior in her heart. Leon, he's quite protective of the child.
Hey! Have you heard about it? Lolo Bun has uploaded a new comic. I have already shared a new comic. The name of this comic is The Blonde-Haired Villain. In Girl Overlord novel, also longs for happiness. I have already shared the relevant content of this comic in this video. You can click on this video to learn about the comic story and character information. If you are interested, you can subscribe to my channel and wait for the sharing of new comic.